When I came to the World Monuments Fund, it was a moment when there was a lot of uncertainty as to whether the organization would survive at all, because the founder was stepping down very precipitously. There were files and records and things that were just being handed over, essentially to me. All of this material just arrived one day in July, somewhat unannounced and in much greater volume than I had expected. I thought that this was something that everybody should care about. There was a big opportunity that had never really been developed to the extent that it could. What the board really wanted to see was an international organization that could live up to the name World Monuments Fund. And how to do that was my challenge. Each one of these places is its own story. The project that's closest to my heart is the one in Arles in the south of France, beautiful Romanesque church, which had very complex issues having to do with the condition of the stone. And this is the condition before the restoration work. This might even be me standing there in a trench coat in front of it. The church was really the centerpiece of the town, but as has happened with many of our projects, because of the poor condition of the building, it kind of slipped out of people's thinking. Now it's completely transformed. That's something that I've learned over and over again in the course of my career, where we could really be the definitive element that could change a situation by coming in and showing interest and offering to fill the gaps. I was in Mexico City 1 week after the earthquake. Government officials were just staggered by the magnitude of it, not really knowing what to do. We discovered that the agency that was responsible for the fine arts didn't even have materials, things like canvas and paintbrushes. And that's why we decided to focus on the murals. All the murals in this building were done, almost all of them by Diego Rivera, who had just returned to Mexico from Europe. So along this fault, the building cracked and basically came apart like a watermelon, and a lot of the murals had big cracks through them and big losses. That experience for me was a great learning ground for how to respond to these catastrophic events. One of the most resonant experiences in my professional life was the work that we started in Angkor in Cambodia in the early 90s, and where we're still very active. It was really the ultimate situation in the aftermath of catastrophe, because the country had been in isolation for 20 years. All of the resources had been depleted, and so they really had virtually nothing to work with. And yet they had this inspiring monument at Angkor that was part of the culture of what it meant to be Khmer. The people in the community didn't really believe that anybody was going to be willing to help them at all. This woman appears in a lot of our pictures. These community members were always just around, watching everything that was happening. This girl on the other side, this guy, became long-term members of the team. She's still working with us 25 years later. She's in charge of Prayakon now. I think probably the World Monuments Watch is what I'm proudest of. We asked people in every country what their priorities were, and to help us help them. The first watch list was released in 1996, and it was like the last day of the deadline. All of a sudden, these FedEx trucks started pulling up. They had grocery carts full of nomination packages. It was just a kind of a staggering experience. Now we've published more than 700 sites on the watch list, and we've been involved with, I would say, almost half of them. You need to think beyond the obvious. You need to go to the places where other people aren't. Monuments are the things that continue to have relevance and meaning across time. In order to continue on our path, these need to be part of the life of today and the part of the life of the future.
Dear Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie. You guided and inspired us for so many years.
I met Bonnie in 1990.
1988.
In the 80s.
1992.
You've created an organization of international impact and significance.
Your work is exemplary.
It is now difficult to imagine our Monuments Fund without you.
All of us want to thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Gracias desde España.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you, Bonnie. Grazie.
Greetings from Petra. Thank you.
From Doha, thank you, Bonnie.
Gracias, Bonnie.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you, Bonnie.
សូមអរគុណ Bonnie